G'day you gorgeous human and welcome back to Politics Made OK. For the first time in 3 weeks, I'm bandage free. Here's the actual footage of me getting those bandages off. Freedom! And speaking of Scotland, I don't know if you guys have heard, but the PM has been in Glasgow for a climate summit this week. Nope, I'm not jealous, you're jealous. But despite this huge event, no one is talking about saving the planet. And that's because we're just too preoccupied with this huge fight between France and Australia. Oh yeah, it's still going. And there is a lot more drama. But is this all as bad as it looks? And is this Australia's worst diplomatic stuff-up? I'll be counting down the top 3 biggest facepalm moments for Australia on the international stage later in the episode. I'm going to take you through all this and more on this week's show of PMO. It's going to be magnifique. Oh, I butchered that. I've been talking about the drama between France and Australia for so long. In fact, I've done a whole episode on how it all started that you can go and check out now. You know, AUKUS, you add France and the F to the beginning and you've got us. But if you can't be bothered with that, and it's not like I need the views or anything, here's a sum up of how things have gone down.
As noted, we will not be continuing with the attack class submarine program and have advised the Naval Group and of course the Government of France and President Macron of that decision.
AUKUS deal was very bad news for France, but not just for France, because I think it's very bad news for credibility and of Australia.
You think he lied to you?
I don't think, I know.
I'm not going to cop sledging of Australia. I'm not going to cop that on behalf of other Australians.
Personal messages between you and President Macron were leaked.
It was very clear about what that communication was, and that was necessary given the matters that were raised.
Eating one's share of humble pie might sometimes be difficult.
So Australia cancelled a sub deal and France got mad, and then France got more mad, and then Australia got mad that France got mad, and now France is unexpectedly holding a grudge. But is this a big deal? And what does it mean for all of us whose last name doesn't rhyme with Norrison? Well, for most of us, not that much. That said, there were already 300 jobs created through this submarine deal, and those people are now out of work. But the government's working pretty hard to connect those people with new shipbuilding jobs. Then there's the money. The project we had going with France was going to cost us $90 billion. Yeah, that's a lot of zeros. We've already spent a couple billion of that, and the fact is we don't really know how much breaking this contract is going to cost us all up. Though I have just this feeling that the French aren't really going to go easy. But the big question is, what about our relationship with our French friends? Is it bombed, gone forever, destroyed? While the drama is literally all we're talking about, the fact is, it's just words. And the French aren't really known for being like super chill and totally not grudge holders. I mean, you saw President Macron call the PM a liar. It's been like a soap opera. Macron is like the scolded woman who's been chosen for another. And then Australia is just like, I tried to let you know, I mean, we did have those texts. Ha! Please. What are you saying? You think I lied to you? Oh, I don't think. I know. Yeah, some journos just write the news. Me, we'll like transform it into an episode of Days of Our Lives. The fact is, the stereotype for the really blunt, rude Frenchman holds true for their political leaders as well. And getting mad like this on the world stage, holding Australia to account so publicly, I mean, this is all just part of their version of diplomacy. You know, I just think we're really shocked because the way our political leaders explain things is not exactly blunt, straightforward, or sometimes even intelligible.
I haven't flip-flopped. I said no originally, then I said yes, then I have said no, and I've stuck to it.
Also, the biggest thing we're working on with France is stabilising the Indo-Pacific. Yeah, that's code for making sure China doesn't start a war. And the fact is, despite all of France's talk about how angry they are and how this is like broken trust, they're not going to change their cooperation with Australia on this. The French ambassador made that more than clear.
France will be always available to Australia when times come. Our ambition for the region remains unchanged. for it is a matter of preserving our core national interest also, and the one of our closest like-minded partners.
So in answer to the question about how bad things really are, I'd say not as bad as you'd think, particularly when you take into consideration all of Australia's other diplomatic stuff-ups. Let me just take you through the top 3. Number 3, we have the moment our Liberal leaders joked about rising sea levels in the Pacific, while the microphone was still on.
Anyway, it was a good meeting. It was a good meeting.
When was it in hospital?
Time was in anything. We were about to be, have water lapping at your
Oh, you've got to love how they tried to save face. You've got Morrison, who was just a minister back then, being like, oh yeah, there's a boom. Yeah, there's a boom right there. There's a microphone, it's on. And then Prime Minister Tony Abbott being like, oh yeah, I see it. I see what you're saying. Yeah, crap. And number 2, we have the moment that New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern went all Love Actually on Scott Morrison. You know, this scene.
I love that word relationship. It covers all manner of sins, doesn't it? I fear that this has become a bad relationship. A relationship based on the president taking exactly what he wants and casually ignoring all those things that really matter to Britain.
But that's just a movie, right? That would never happen in real life.
Friendships aren't just reaffirmed in times of tragedy. They must stand up to the test of politics too. And in the face of politics, the New Zealand and Australia relationship is being tested. Send back Kiwis, genuine Kiwis. Do not deport your people and your problems.
Oh boy. Yeah, you know, they're nice, but you just don't really want to piss off the Kiwis. And at number 1, we have pretty much the key moment that prompted China to put us in the freezer.
Well, we need to know the sorts of details that an independent review would identify for us about the genesis of the virus.
I mean, that seems pretty reasonable, right? It was, except for the part where, you know, Australia went out on its own to call for this independent inquiry. And it was just days before numerous other countries came out with the same call. Yep, it really painted a target on our backs. But why wait to call for a review, right? It's not like China would slap all these trade sanctions on our barley, beef and wine. That would be madness. That brings us to the end of Australia's top diplomatic stuff-ups and to the end of the show. Will France take Australia back in the soap opera finale of 2021? I'll let you know. So like and subscribe to make sure you don't miss a thing, and I'll catch you next time on PMO. Sacre bleu! Oh, I have to stop.